Jenny McCarthy Show.
Oh! Welcome back to the Jenny McCarthy Show. I'm Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg. I'm so excited. You guys know I'm such a slut lover for the Real Housewives and especially Beverly Hills. It was on last night, you guys, but you guys can follow along with it on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock on Bravo. I've got Teddi Mellencamp herself sitting across from me. Hello, welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me.
I love being able to interview my housewives. Where's that publicist? Thank you. Thank you. It's just a treat.
No, well, we're excited to be here.
I'm glad. I'm such a huge fan of the show and the ladies. I mean, what made you decide to do it in the first place?
You know, for whatever reason, I just looked at my husband. I'm like, we should do this. And he was like, and I'm like, yeah, we should. And he's like, I don't think it'll end up working out. I'm like, it's going to. And then that's just how it went down.
And was he worried at all about any backlash?
He wasn't worried. I mean, he's like, you know what? You're an honest person. You're going to go out. You're going to have hard days. You're going to have good days. But like, okay, let's do it.
And what was that reason inside of you saying, you know what? I want to do this show? Because
truthfully, I had just gone through a big life change myself. I was feeling good. I was in a place where I was like, I don't want to stay in the same place. I want to continue growing and I want my life to continue moving because I feel like if you stay in the same place, you get stagnant and then you make mistakes.
100%. So you wanted to, like some people say, try new things, explore, keep growing. Good for you.
Thanks.
I think you're a great addition to the show.
Thank you.
This has been an explosive season thus far. But before I get into the actual show itself, you are an accountability coach.
Yes.
I love how it came around because I too gained 80 pounds during pregnancy. I thought Evan was going to be 75 pounds.
And then you're like, oh, no, 7?
I left the hospital at 201.
Oh, you know, me too. I was bigger.
And, I joined Weight Watchers as my accountability, and it's kind of a similar thing, I think, where I would take my stroller, though, into meetings. You have more of a personal
Yeah, so it's
connection.
hands-on. So it's constant. It's like we're like a concierge service almost because you're able to text your coach any time of the day. You can be at a restaurant and say, hey, here's the menu. What do I do?
Nice.
And you also have to follow guidelines. And the beauty of it is if you're not and you've put your money down, then you're out. So that's what holds you.
Oh, you kick them out?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. So if breakfast is due by 10, lunch is due by 2, dinner's due by 8. If you haven't said, hey, sorry, Teddi, I'm running late, blah, blah, blah. If it's just missing, sorry.
Ooh, I kind of like that part.
And so that's what really holds you accountable because you have to not only be accountable to eating healthy, you have to be accountable for yourself and 100%. What you're doing.
And rich bitches don't care much about money, but they do they care about getting booted out.
Yeah, nobody wants to get booted out. And I mean, also we're your biggest cheerleaders and we're there to support you, but we're that friend that tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think going out and eating is one of the hardest things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is we get to a habit where we're like, I worked out, so I deserve to do this. I deserve.
Totally.
And that just becomes the mentality. And what happens is then you don't change and you can't figure out why you're not losing weight or why you're not feeling better. And it's because after you work out, you go to dinner and you have 3 glasses of wine, you have, something unhealthy, and then you also have dessert. Because you deserve it. I had a bad day.
Now, how many people do you have working for you now?
So I have 40. And, we're still growing, but every single one of the coaches were clients that graduated. So that's the part that feels the best because, not only have they changed their lives,
right,
they're now helping other people change theirs.
Paying it forward.
Yeah. So
can I kidnap or hire one of them to live with me 24 hours? That's how much I need an accountant.
You know what? Probably.
I'm literally was looking into that.
I'm like, ladies, if you're listening, don't get any ideas.
I need someone to follow me around and be like, don't do that. Take this vitamin. Because as a mother, you take care of your kids. A lot of times they come first when really you need to take care of yourself. And you find yourself, skipping out on your good shit for the day.
Agreed. And you know what? Also, for me, I really struggled with realizing I need to take care of myself to be the best mom.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not feeling good, I'm a little bit cranky. I'm a little bit I'm just on edge.
100%.
And being able to learn that you can communicate with that to your husband and say, listen, I need this hour for me and we have to figure it out.
100%.
Because before I would just go deep dark in my hole and just be like.
You'd shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go window shopping.
Yeah. See, everybody has their thing.
Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to know to ask for it. So with that, who holds you accountable?
You know what? My business. because now, I mean, I
You
fluctuated.
gotta walk the talk.
Yeah, so I fluctuated my entire life, and now I'm at, almost 4 years of staying the same, being balanced, feeling good, and that feels good. And you know what? It's because, like, this morning, you think after last night I wanted to get up at 5 this
No.
morning and go work out?
No.
I did, because I can't tell one of my clients they need to do it if I don't.
I was going to say that because I'm like, I'm always traveling. I'll land at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I have to get up at 5 a.m. And I'm like, where am I supposed to work out if I'm only getting 3 hours of sleep?
Right.
What do you tell parents that have the same issue that don't get
I'm
any
like,
sleep?
you have to make time. You have to make time. If it's important to you, you will. And people are like, how do I stay motivated? It's not about motivation. It's about being committed.
God, that's so true. It's so true. I almost tweeted this yesterday. I almost wrote, how do you get motivated to even dive into dieting again or working out? Because I'm kind of in this stuck place where I start smoking again, and I'm not working out, and I'm kind of eating, and I need something. I'm like, I used to be hired for bikini shoots. I used to be, guest stars, always having to wear a sexy dress. I don't have that anymore. I'm on fucking radio. So, like, I could,
I think you have to decide, am I fully comfortable in my own skin right now?
No.
So that's your decision. Then you have to think, so that's your why.
I mean, I can't button my jeans, so I can't physically be okay in my own skin.
Right. So then once you get to that place, then you start making 3 little things that you're going to shift. So what are those 3 most important things to you? It could be anything. I'm not going to drink Diet Snapple, or I'm going to have water instead of
right.
or I'm going to go on a walk for 30 minutes every day. And once you do those 3 things and you make those a habit, then you pick 3 new ones, and then soon you start changing your life. I tell anybody, if you're doing this for a diet, don't sign up.
Right.
If you're doing this because you want to change your life, like, example, yes, you see me on the Housewives. I drink a ton, like more
you
than
still live your life.
Yeah, but when I'm not doing it, I'm very disciplined, and I always make a choice. If we go to dinner and I decide to have 2 glasses of wine, I'm not having dessert, and I don't feel angry about it because it's a choice.
Right. You're right. And you know what? I like the idea of starting small with 3 goals, or even just one once you do that, and then incorporating, because, I'm all in or all out.
Right. And then what happens is once you're all out, you're like, well, might as well. What is this going to matter then?
Totally.
And then you just keep piling on and piling on until you're at a place where you're,
Well, I'm smoking. I might as well smoke right now.
Yeah.
So it's one after another. I'm talking to Teddi Mellencamp, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock on Bravo. Who was the most intimidating when you first started the show? Who did you go in going like, ooh, I'm a little honestly nervous about?
I think because I hadn't watched. I watch now. Like, I watch everything now. But before I started, I hadn't watched. And the only people I had spoken to at the beginning were Lisa Vanderpump and Dorit. So I'd already had kind of a warning about Erica. So then I think I walked in and she had a big presence. And it was like almost like... And you see it. Like, I'm like quiet. And then Erica and I never had a chance to ever be together one-on-one. We were always in a group. And so there was just this tension that shouldn't have even been tension because we didn't even know each other.
You're right. That makes a lot of sense. If you went in with a story in your head and a perception, usually you kind of manifest your fears.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you did that the first season.
And, and this year my relationships start changing with everybody because I'm able to spend time with them not in the group.
So were you couldn't spend time off camera during, I think that's how they do it, right? You can't. You
can do whatever you want, but I wasn't going to reach out to her and spend time with her when we're not filming because then it would create something that wasn't happening on camera. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes, I get that.
Like, it's one thing if Kyle and I spend time together off camera. She's one of my very good friends. It's not going to change anything.
No, exactly. You're right. So I want to dive into what's been going on this season. You are in the center of the controversy this year. So
yep.
In production terms and ratings, congratulations.
Oh, gosh. I know my husband tweeted me, he's like, you're trending across the U.S., not in a good way.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's ever in a good way. I don't think I've ever trended good. But in a way, what is the good part? Like, I just found the good in it. Like, yeah, you went on there to do kind of a job and it's working. But did you find the good in what's happening?
For me, the good is I know in the end, I have a clear conscience. I it's going to be rocky to get there, but I know, and there's not a doubt in my mind that the truth will prevail.
I mean, I've been doing this long enough and sat across so many housewives, and Lisa Vanderpump's name has come up every single time. From when I've talked with Brandy about Lisa manipulating certain things, and I know she's got an army that's going to be mad at me for saying that. I frankly don't give a shit. Did you go in knowing that Lisa Vanderpump has this ability in her to manipulate?
You know, I probably should have. Last year, I was in such like an uncomfortable place within the group that I kind of took her nightly calls as like, oh, she's checking on me.
Your teddy bear.
But really, I was pretty much getting groomed.
You're right.
So, you know, I there's a lot of things that I'm like, you know, I fell for this. I made the wrong decisions. I'm not a dummy. Why did I do this? I've made mistakes, but I think, and I regret some of the things that I've done. And I consistently say, if you read any of my blogs, like, I'm not clean in all of this.
You're not. You're definitely, and I read it this morning and said, I love that the accountability coach is taking her own accountability in the matter. Who pointed it out to you that Lisa could be manipulating you and groomed you? Because we know Rinna.
Well, everybody is like coming on Rinna, and they're like, it's Rinna in the Bahamas. No, I knew when we filmed at Vanderpump Dogs, because remember, I was given the story in advance. There was multiple phone calls, multiple texts. Like, I'm in the thick of it. I can't give all the information because then it ruins story. But I had a lot of information that I knew Lisa Vanderpump wanted me to have, and to get me all riled up, a much more dramatic story than you're seeing on TV. And then when we're at Vanderpump Dogs, when I started seeing Lisa be like, no! And I was like, what is happening here? I didn't realize when I had fallen into this trap that she was going to completely pretend
Get it.
She didn't want anything out there. And that's when I already knew by the Bahamas. I knew. You can see me in Vanderpump Dogs. Like, I went in on a mission. I was supposed to be saying it. And I started, I'm like, is that her? And then I start to see what Lisa's doing, and I pull back and I'm like, why am I doing this for Lisa?
You did shift, now that I think about it.
I went in with a plan that I had.
And when Lisa did that turn, so you were expecting Lisa to go, yes, this is what happened. But she wanted you to be
She wanted me to be the instigator.
Yep.
She wanted to be able to turn it on me and then go, I'm sorry, Dorit, I was trying to protect you. But no, trying to protect Dorit would have been, let's pretend that she has no communication with her staff. Let's just try to put that out there. But she knew that I knew because she texted Dorit, Teddi knows. This is way before we filmed. Don't you think she would have called me and said, hey, Teddi, don't say anything. Let's keep this quiet. Or don't you think if she was really upset about the dog, when Dorit called her and said, I gave the dog away, don't you think she would have said, Dorit, get that dog back and bring it to Vanderpump Dogs? Or, hey, one of the Johns, go do a home check on this dog at this woman's house.
Do you think she wanted to, it's obvious, but I'm answering my own question, but she wanted to make this a storyline?
Of course. Of course.
And it backfired.
Yeah, I mean, but of course, she's getting what she wants because she can still come at me and she can turn it all around on me. And the point is, I'm not pretending that I wasn't involved. I was involved.
Why did you do her bidding? What made you say, you know what, I'm going to do this for her?
I mean, you want me to be like really frank?
Yeah.
Because I was new and the main housewife called me, had somebody call and say, Lisa wants, put you out there. And the original story was, Dorit's not calling Lisa back and she wants to text her, Teddi knows.
Wow.
So, and you know what? I fell for it. And I was, trying to do a good job.
And you know what? I love that you answered that because it is authentic and obvious. And
it feels gross. I mean, believe me, it feels gross. And I say gross things about Dorit, and I am involved. Like, I'm helping them figure out a way to get it out there. But the point is, it was because
you were new.
Because I was new and because she wanted it.
Yeah. Lisa Rinna, who I love, a dear friend of mine, had said, I'm not sure if it was the end of last season or the beginning of this season, but she said something like, oh my God, Teddi has no idea that she's doing Vanderpump's bidding because she's new and it's Teddi Bear and Teddi Bear.
Yeah, and I think people, they keep coming at me and they're like, Teddi, she had your back last season and she had that. But what people don't understand, like, example, when I cried in the car last year
Yes.
about Erica, I was already done for the night. The reason it continues on is because Lisa Vanderpump came mic'd with the cameras. Like, that's how it happens. That's, so it's all those things that people think like, oh, wow, she was really there for you. Now when I look back, I'm like, no. That was all to make me look bad.
Wow.
And that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow.
It is. How do you then continue on a show and be able to look left and right and call them friends, knowing when everyone has an ulterior motive? Everyone.
I think, we all have, we all do the best we can in the situation that we're in. But I mean, I have every relationship that I feel is different. Within the group. When it comes to Lisa, my situation, Lisa Vanderpump, it's, I can coexist with you. This is where it is, but I don't trust you.
Can you coexist with her if she continues?
Yeah, I mean, I could coexist with anybody. I mean,
Can she, you think?
I have no idea. I mean, if I'm not here next year, you know why.
I mean, when I had Rinna on the show, I had asked her if she thinks that Lisa should be let go. If I said, Rinna, if you were the producer of the show, would you allow her to be back, especially for someone that is supposedly on a show that didn't show up for the remainder of the season? And she said, well, absolutely.
I mean,
Do you agree?
I listened to that, and I hear what she's saying. For me, the thing was she showed up until she got caught. So.
And when was the aha moment that you realized I'm busted?
I can't really say that because then it gives away things in the future. But I think the second she starts putting her finger up and doing that, like, can't remember her stories. And, here's the thing. I'm happy to talk about it till the cows come home because there's nothing I need to, remember because it's the truth.
Right. I get that when you're telling the truth. You don't
have
have to remember
like
anything.
Somebody's like, are you nervous about the reunion? No, because I lived it. And it's the truth.
Right. When you have the truth, you really have
and when you can own your mistakes and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I messed up and I feel bad. That happens.
And I love
we're
that.
Not perfect.
And don't forget, because I loved your authentic answer of, listen, I was the new girl.
And I made a dumb mistake and I was petty.
I'm so interested to know. I loved the opening of the premiere where they show an argument between Lisa Vanderpump and Kyle, and then they say 2 months earlier, and that fight where Lisa Vanderpump says, I swear on my children's life. I thought to myself, whoa, because I've been a fan of the show and I know she does manipulate. Those are big words out of Lisa Vanderpump's mouth.
And I think that entire thing almost got overlooked because of what happened next. It's not appropriate for a man to yell at a woman the way that Ken yelled at Kyle. That was totally brushed over because of all the other stuff. But you know what? Everything aside, why? Let's just say I was having this issue. If my husband was there yelling at one of my friends,
right? You
have got to be kidding. No. It is not okay.
What about, I'm going to play the devil's advocate of listeners saying, yeah, but it's a husband defending his wife no matter what.
Well, then do it responsibly. Say, hey, listen, you've hurt us, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. But to come in and like that, I think that's what you do when you're busted.
You're right. And obviously he hasn't yelled at you like this yet.
No, just behind my back.
Do you feel hurt by all this?
People keep asking me, they're like, you don't seem hurt. I'm like, I'm not hurt because you can be hurt if you actually believe somebody's a good person and you're missing out.
Wow, that's so true.
But I'm not hurt because I don't think that.
You're right.
I think her biggest thing is she cares what everybody thinks more than what any of us think. And that's the problem, and that's why we're here.
Do you think she can, this is the first season that I think she hasn't had full control. Really, the first season. Do you think she's able, if stepping outside yourself, is she able to rise from the ashes and redeem herself? Because she's not a person to say, I own this, I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. All she would really have to say for everybody to kind of, is, guys, I'm sorry. I let this get too far. I should have just said, Dorit, I'm upset with you. And you know what? I was not in a good place and just.
Right.
And you know what? All of us are understanding people,
Totally.
especially in this setting.
Totally.
I'm not saying she needs to be like, I'm so sorry. But just, you know what? I let it get out of hand.
Own up to it. And why do you think she has a hard time doing that?
Because then she wouldn't be perfect. And then she can't be admired and the queen.
Of West Hollywood and the world.
Yes.
Do you think she has an internal righteousness to that she's the boss, that she has Vanderpump rules, she can kind of do whatever she wants?
I don't know. I only just know how I personally handle things. So even last year when Dorit and I were not in a good place and we're required to write blogs and then people would attack Dorit. I would go out and say, I would post on Twitter guys, cool it.
Wow.
We are all, doing the best we can. Even though I'm writing this in the blog, I'm required to say how I'm feeling, but she doesn't need those type of attacks. If you notice, that's not happening this year.
It's not.
Lisa's not saying, hey guys, you know what, this is all, it's fine to have favorites and blah, 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 but let's not go to death threats for my castmates. Because
you kind of, and I'm going to bring up something that Camille said, because I don't want to overlook, and I like the way you explained it, but for people that have said to me, what about the other side? Dorit did something that wasn't necessarily a right move.
Right. So let me ask you a question. If that's true, why wasn't Lisa upset about it?
Apparently, according to the third person watching it, we have to assume she was.
But she's saying, I don't care. We already worked through this. But, in the end, it's not about the dog. It's about what you do to make your friends look bad and continue on. The dog, here's the thing, the dog's fine. And her even saying the word kill shelter, her even telling another story about how terrible things that weren't true. It's just not about the dog. It's about the level that you go to hurt other people, and especially that level when you're mourning.
Right.
And there's never a reason to go out of your way to try to hurt other people.
Speaking of mourning, do you think that people that deserve a pass who are or going through, have just gone through a difficult period like she has?
I think all it would have taken was, I'm struggling, guys, and I'm sorry. I'm struggling, and I've made some bad decisions, and you know what? Let me process this.
I think if this was season 1, I think the group would have said that. You know what? Let's just give her a pass. But do you believe that because of her?
I think because of the amount
history
of time she's done this, it's, I think some people almost developed a callus. This is just her, and let it just keep going. But you hit a point where it's come on, you can't do this anymore.
Right. I mean, that was the biggest tell for me when I saw the whole group kind of, and everyone's saying these words, oh, everyone's attacking Lisa Vanderpump. But I said, well, let's peel the onion. Let's look at the history. Let's check the receipts of the past how many seasons. And when all of the women are now somewhat on the same side, that tells me a lot about what's going on.
Because most of them have had to live it.
Right.
I mean, the level, I went back and watched some old stuff, and some of the things that she did, after this season, I went back and watched. Even from when we go back to where she brought up the tabloids in front of Portia.
That's right.
These are just sick things you don't do.
Right. You're right.
You just don't. Or what she did with, Brandy or Lisa Rinna, all of these things. It's not okay.
Is she a genius producer?
Well, she has a great show that she produces, Vanderpump Rules, right?
Do you think she's producing Housewives?
I think that's...
Teddi, you are so fun to talk to, so real. I wish you all the best, and please come back. You have a friend here.
Thank you.
The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock on Bravo. Let's take a picture.
Jenny McCarthy Show. Oh!